StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to compartmentalize. Before we get into this, I remind you all of two things. First of all, my daily motivation, Monday motivation messages, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point, start your day or your week, respectively. All you got to do is be a member of my text community. It is free to join, and all you got to do is send me a text. And my number, 305-384-6894. Once we reactivate sending our messages out, you'll be getting those straight to your phone. And you can even respond back to them and have a dialogue with me via text message. And yes, I do respond to my text. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That is the place where I do all of my coaching. If you would like to have me as your direct coach, and why would you not? You already listened to the show. You want to have me as your direct coach. You want to get access to our best frameworks for mindset, strategy, systems, accountability, performance, consistency, and result producing, whether in your personal life and or your business life. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see everything that we are about, everything you get in the program, and how to get started all right there in one spot. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. With all that out the way, let's get into this topic here today, which again is how to compartmentalize. Definition of compartmentalize is to divide into sections or categories. With that definition, I'm giving an introduction that's most of the introduction that will be needed for this episode. This is all about putting things into their proper sections and in their proper places, not allowing different parts of your life or business or career to leak into other parts that are not supposed to leak in, and if you don't want them to leak in. So as we get into our points, you'll understand this very well and know what to do with it and know what to do about it. So I don't need to give too much introduction. Let's just get right into the points. Point number one, topic once again, is how to compartmentalize. Number one, do not allow what's happening in one area to affect how you show up in another area. Do not allow what's happening in one area to affect how you show up in another area, at least not in a negative way. So if it can affect it in a positive way, then sure. If you have great things happening at work and then that leads to you having great energy at home, then you can allow that effect, or vice versa. But if things are terrible at work, don't take what's happening at work and take it out on your family and your kids, your wife and your kids when you get home. Don't do that. Not in a negative way. So if it's positive, use it. The point is, if you're having trouble in one space, again, it shouldn't make you be a grouch in the other space. And if things are not going great in one, then you have to compartmentalize, put that away when you leave that place, and become the person who you need to be when you move into the other place. I remember hearing a professional athlete share this anecdote that he was told early in his career by one of his teammates that even if he was having a terrible game or a terrible string of games, that as soon as the game was over, he couldn't take the negative energy that he was feeling about his lack of performance or how bad the team was doing. He couldn't allow that energy to affect how he showed up when his wife and his kids ran up to him after the game. Because as soon as he left the locker room and he walked up to his wife and his kids, he was no husband and dad. They didn't care if he won or lost the game. They were just happy to see the man of the house on his way back home. And they were not judging him by wins and losses like the fans and the media and the internet are. And he had to learn to compartmentalize. That has nothing to do with this. And this has nothing to do with that. And you have to learn to put them in their separate boxes. And that applies to all aspects of our lives. Again, especially when things are not going well in any aspect of life. And it's the same thing that I would say to all of you. If you are having a terrible, let's say things are terrible at home, for example, that shouldn't stop you from going to the gym and working out if you're supposed to be at the gym working out. If things are terrible at home, that should have no effect on you showing up and giving the sales presentation that you're supposed to give today if that sales presentation was on the calendar. It should have no effect on what you're doing in business. So however things are going in one aspect of life, people shouldn't be able to tell that things are terrible in that aspect based on the way you show up in this other aspect. Things are going terrible at work. Your kids shouldn't be able to tell that things are terrible at work by the way that you show up at home. That you shouldn't be taking that out on your kids. And they should, if they notice, that means you're taking it out on them. Whether you're doing it like overtly and like you're yelling at them and beating your kids because you're having a bad month in sales, it doesn't even have to be that. It could just be you're not there all the way. You're not present. You don't have the right energy. You're not as positive, or you're not emanating energy and leading your kids the way you're supposed to because you're having bad days at work. Your kids shouldn't be able to notice that. Your wife shouldn't be able to notice that, or husband. That's compartmentalization, putting them in their boxes. So outside of the game, folks, whatever the game is for you, you still have to be whoever you are in the other aspects of your life. And remember, as I hearken back to the example I was giving you of the professional athlete, he still had to be a husband and a dad, regardless of you can lose every game. And your parent, not your parents, but your kids and your wife don't love you any less just because you had a bad game. Now, on the flip side, if things aren't going great at home, as I said, it shouldn't hamper your performance. If you're having a terrible time and arguing with your wife every night, that should not stop you from performing and doing what you need to do for the team that you play for or the business that you work at. It shouldn't be affected because, again, your job doesn't pay you for how well you're doing at home, but they pay you for how well you do the job. So you have to show up and do your job. This requires you to be able to put that away, turn that off. It'll still be waiting for you when you get back. So any of you who is struggling with the idea of doing this compartmentalizing that we're talking about here, understand, especially when things are not going well for you in one aspect of your life, if you were to put it to the side and put it in a box so it will be there for safekeeping, you go do your job that you need to do and come back and open the box, guarantee that problem ain't going nowhere. All right, nobody's going to steal your problems from you so that you don't have them anymore by the time you get done doing your work or your job or whatever it is that you have to do. The problem ain't going anywhere. It will be waiting for you. As the saying goes, if you got a bunch of people in a room and everyone took all their problems and laid them out in the middle of the floor, in very short order, everyone will be scrambling to go pick up their own personal problems back. They wouldn't want to trade problems with anybody. All right, so understand, everybody else in life has their own problems. Nobody wants your problem. If you put yours away in a box, you can go do your job. When you come back, that box will still be there. Nobody's going to steal your box with your problems in it. Okay, so when things are not going well, you cannot allow that to hamper your performance. Because again, the job pays you to do the job. They don't pay you for what's going on in any other aspect of your life. So compartmentalization, folks, is about separating different areas in such a way that no one should know or be able to tell when things are going bad in area 1 because it doesn't affect anything happening in area 2. And I'm using home and work as examples here, but you can swap out any other aspects of life, whichever ones you are dealing with right now. Because again, each area needs to be dealt with as it is. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to compartmentalize. Number 2, put things in their proper boxes and handle them when it is time to handle them. That's what compartmentalizing is about. It's not that you are ignoring something. By putting it in a box doesn't mean you ignore it and never deal with it. It just means you put it aside until it's time for it to be brought out. And until that time, you focus on whatever's in front of you. All right, complete focus for complete results. So if you are having a rough situation at home and then you go to the gym, you shouldn't have a half-assed workout because something bad is going on at home, because what's going on at home has nothing to do with what's going on in the gym. You should have a great workout at the gym because you're at the gym completely focused on doing what you're supposed to do at the gym, which again is not going to make your home situation any better or worse what you do at the gym. So if you have a shitty workout, it's not going to fix the situation at home. So it doesn't matter if you had a shitty workout. If you have a shitty day at work, it's not going to fix the situation at home. So you might as well have a good day at work. Why not? You might as well still perform there. So again, extending our example that we use in point number 1. You have a terrible situation going on in one place and a professional career. Let's say you got a terrible situation in your personal life with a friend or a family member or a spouse, and you also have a professional career that you need to show up for. As soon as you leave the house where that personal situation is going on, you got to take all that stuff and put it away. And again, you open that up when you come back home. During the time that you're at work, your focus should be fully on what you are doing at work, and it should never be affected by whatever's happening in the other places. And again, flip this around, you can apply it the exact same way. The discipline, folks, is about putting things in their proper boxes and dealing with them when it's time to deal with them, not allowing any aspect of your life to dominate and control every other aspect of your life, again, especially when it's not to your liking. Now, you can allow energy to mix and meld in between different aspects of life when it's good energy. So let's say you're on a great run of closing sales and you're having your best sales year ever and you're making all the commission, you're going to have your best income year in history. Well, you can allow the positive energy of that. You can allow those vibes to leak into every other aspect of your life because that'll work in a positive way. But in a negative way, no, it is not allowed. 0%. None. And you need to be disciplined enough and professional enough in your approach that even when things are going terrible, and let's say there are 5 different aspects of your life, When things are going terrible in 4 of those aspects, the 5th aspect should not suffer because the other 4 are doing bad. If there are 5 aspects of your life and 4 of them are going terribly, the 5th aspect that is not going terribly should not suffer just because the other 4 are going horribly right now. So let's say we were to take some aspects. So let's say you got your job, your career, you have your home life, which is your spouse and your kids. That's 2 areas. Let's say your fitness is area number 3. Let's say your nutrition is area number 4. And then let's say your friends outside of your spouse and your family, but your actual friends, area number 5. So 4 of these areas are doing horrible. Let's say the first 4 that we mentioned, it doesn't mean you should be a jerk to your friends. All right. If your friends are acting like idiots or you don't like your friends, and you're not eating very well and your body's not in good shape because you haven't been working out and your job is going terrible, doesn't mean you should be a jerk to your spouse. All right, so even if 4 are going bad, the other one shouldn't suffer. All right, that's the professionalism, folks. That is the discipline. That's the discipline of putting everything into its proper box. This is your job, and remember the phrase, complete focus for complete results. You want to get great results in any aspect of your life, you need to be completely focused on that aspect when it's time to be focused on that aspect and not allow any other negative or less than ideal things that are happening in some other aspect of your life to stop you from doing what you're supposed to do in the aspect that you should be focused on right now. Remember that focus is a force multiplier. The longer and stronger you can maintain focus on a thing, the better you will do at it, regardless of your skill level, because you are recruiting a higher percentage of your abilities to it. So if you are giving, just think about it. If you're giving 80% of your focus to a thing, do you think you would do better at it if you gave 100%? Of course you would, regardless of how good you are. You may be an amateur, but 80% of an amateur is not as good as 100% of an amateur. So you're better off giving all of that you have, all of what you have there, instead of having 20% of your brain thinking about something that has nothing to do with what you're supposed to be doing right now. Does everybody understand what I'm saying here? That's the discipline. Putting things in their proper boxes and only dealing with them when it's time for them to be dealt with, not allowing them to affect how you show up everywhere else. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to compartmentalize. Number 3, I already used this phrase a couple times already. Complete focus for complete results. As we just touched on in point number 2, when it's time to do a specific job, put all your focus and energy into the resources, into doing that job as best you can do it. Because again, you can't make up for what's happening here with what you're doing over here. You can't make up for a bad home situation with what you do in the gym. All right, it's not going to fix anything. So you might as well have a great workout in the gym. If you have problems in the other 4 areas of your life, all right, correlating problems will still be there when you're done. Worrying about them rather, and allowing them to affect the task at hand do not make the problems go away, nor does it help your performance. And you need to be focused in the moment. So this is the essence of compartmentalization. This is something that many people struggle with because many people tend to allow whatever is happening in any aspect of life, especially something that you don't want, you allow that to leak into every other aspect of your life. The whole point of this masterclass is to tell you to stop doing that and give you a framework on what you need to understand in order to stop doing it. And inside of the university, Work on Your Game University, in my Bulletproof Mindset program, I teach you exactly how to do this in a strategic way that you can start applying immediately. But you have to get control over your mind. The reason why people make this mistake is they don't have control over their mental capacities. You don't control your thinking process. And when you don't control your thinking process, whatever is happening in the outside world that affects you, that starts to control your thinking process. It takes over your mind just like that fast, because you're not controlling it. You have to keep control of this. Many people allow whatever is happening, especially a bad thing, to affect all of their being, every single thing that they do. This is a bad idea. The key is detaching yourself emotionally from every other thing that you're doing. And when you step outside of it, when you step outside of that thing that's not working, you can focus on the task at hand. Again, this is a professional level skill, ladies and gentlemen. What I mean by that is when you're a professional, you must have this skill if you want to call yourself a professional. And the better you get at this, the more professional you will be. This is a pro level skill. And this is especially important for the males out there. And the reason why I'm singling out or pointing out the males in this situation is because men, we have broad shoulders for a reason. Women have wide hips for childbearing. Men have wide shoulders for problem bearing. So I'll repeat that. Women have wide hips for childbearing. All right, a woman is designed to bear children. A man cannot have a baby. That's why we have narrow hips. And men, we have broad shoulders for problem bearing. We are designed to handle the problems. Women are not designed to handle problems. Men are not designed to handle babies, or at least not to give birth to one. Let's say that. Does everybody understand what I'm saying here? So your job, man, is to compartmentalize and not allow what's happening over here to bother you over there. I remember this girl that I knew years ago. This is close to 20 years ago. She was a model, and she had gone to some. And I was telling her to come to. She was coming to my apartment, but first she was going to go to some meeting that she was having with her modeling agency about her career and her future prospects, et cetera, et cetera. And she goes to the meeting with the modeling agency, and she came to my place, and she was very despondent and in a bad mood and just not feeling good. And I asked her what happened. She told me about the meeting she had with her modeling agency, and apparently she just didn't like how the conversation went. The person in charge of the agency was telling her some stuff, giving her some harsh, constructive criticism, let's say, that she didn't really like. The girl didn't really like, and she was really down like the whole time she was at my place that evening because she was allowing the whatever negative energy she had from that meeting with her modeling agency to affect her engagement with me. And the reason I'm bringing that up is to help you understand that women sometimes will do this because women are not designed the same way that men are. If you are a man, I would not allow that to be acceptable. If a man did that, I would say that's unacceptable. Let's say I had a bad day at work and then I went over to her house and then I was just feeling like shit because I had a bad day at work and then didn't give her my full focus and attention to have a good time with her because I was feeling bad about what happened at work. It would be less acceptable for me to do that than it was for her to do it because she's a woman and I'm a man. And men and women are not the same, nor do we have the same expectations of each other socially. I'm not saying that as a man, you can't go to a woman and tell her your problems and help. Maybe she can talk to you and ease you and or ease your allay your fears and ease your mind and help you relax and calm down and get over it. I'm not saying that you can't do that. What I'm saying is, at the same time, the expectation of the woman is not the same as the expectation of the man. All right. At some point, man, you're gonna have to get up off the couch and go do something. All right. The woman is not responsible for getting you up off the couch. Now she can help you a little bit. You want to sit on the couch. You can't sit on the couch and bitch for as long as she can sit on the couch and bitch. Now, that girl, the example I'm giving, you sat on the couch and bitched that whole night. Now, if that had been me, the roles had been reversed, I would not be allowed, it would not be acceptable for me as a man to sit on the couch and bitch all night. Simply because I'm the male and she's the female. Just for that reason alone. All right, in case anybody was wondering. So let's recap today's class, which is how to compartmentalize. The definition is to divide into sections or categories. And I don't need to give too much information introduction on this information. Point number one, do not allow what's happening in one area to negatively affect how you show up in another area, at least not in a negative way. Again, if it's positive, then you can go ahead and use it. But if it's negative, then you have to put that aside. Number two, put things into their proper boxes and handle them when it's time to handle them. So handle home when it's time to be home, handle work when it's time to be work, handle the gym when you're at the gym, handle your friends when you're with your friends, and handle your whatever else when it's time to do whatever else. Put everything into its proper box. This is a mental skill. Okay, this is something that you develop. This is not something that naturally happens. Number three, complete focus for complete results. Again, and this is understanding that when it's time for you to do a specific job, put all your focus into the job that you are in. Robert Greene talks about this, and I can't even remember which book it was that he did, because so many of Robert Greene's books are in my top 5. But I believe it was, man, I'll be lying if I told you which one it was. It might have been the 33 Strategies of War, but I can't remember which one of the laws that he was talking about when he said it. But he talks about how when someone is fully focused in the moment, they are in the moment. They are not distracted by a whole bunch of other things. They are completely focused on what's happening in the moment. This person becomes more powerful for the simple fact that, as I've already told you, focus is a force multiplier. And when you take all of your resources and focus them on a single point in the single moment, you are much more powerful than when you are distracted and thinking about 30 different things while you're supposed to be doing one thing. You become more powerful by simply putting all your focus into the thing that you are doing right now. Any of you can start using that right now, immediately, where you sit or where you stand, without doing anything else. Just put all your focus into whatever you are doing in the moment, and everything else that is going to happen or is going to come or you think is going to come, well, guess what? Whether it comes or not has nothing to do with what you're doing right now. So focus on what you're doing right now. Again, this is a mental toughness practice. This is a mental toughness exercise, and this is a professional level skill, meaning this will make you more professional. And when you have it, you are a professional. All that said, text me, see in my community. My number's down below in the description. Also, Work on Your Game University. You want to learn how to do this. You want to learn and have me coach you on how to get yourself into this mental state and stay there. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all